Hold on to your seats, Lions fans, because Detroit just got hit with the kind of injury report that makes you want to run outside and scream at the sky in the best possible way. We are talking 5, 6 important players suddenly back on the practice field. Guys that honestly some of us had almost forgotten were even banged up in the first place, because that's how deep this roster has been rotating through bodies. Plus, Dan Campbell himself went out of his way, days after a preseason game, after sitting down and actually watching the tape, to rave about a rookie that Lions fans have been quietly, nervously hoping would turn out to be the real deal. If you are new here, welcome to Detroit Scope, and if you've been here before, you already know what time it is. Hit that subscribe button right now. We are chasing 1,000 subscribers, and every single person watching this video can help push us there. It genuinely means everything to this channel. Okay, now let's get into the good stuff. Let's start at the top of the list, because if you're going to talk about important returns for this Lions team, you have to start in the trenches. Juice Scruggs is back, and not just back jogging around in a jersey, back and immediately plugged into the first-team offense. That's a massive signal. While backup center Seth McLaughlin held things down admirably in his absence, the second Scruggs stepped back onto that practice field. The coaching staff put him right back with the starters. That tells you everything you need to know about the pecking order at center. This job is his to lose. Remember, Detroit brought Scruggs in via trade, a former high draft pick who simply never found his footing with the Texans. Nobody's expecting him to replace a legend like Frank Ragnow overnight, but the bar realistically being set here is simple. Be better than what Detroit got out of that position last season. And if Scruggs can hold that line while Cade Mays works his way back from injury around midseason, the interior of this offensive line could end up being far more stable than anyone outside the building expected. Look at the schedule too. Outside of a genuinely tough matchup with Buffalo, this early slate is loaded with winnable games. A healthy, functional offensive line walking into that stretch could have a Lions sitting somewhere around 4-1 or 5-1 heading into the bye. That's the kind of start that changes the entire tone of a season. Next up, defensive lineman DJ Reader is dealing with what's being described as a nagging hamstring issue. Which, look, nobody loves hearing that phrase about a key veteran on the defensive interior. But the hope here is that this is more of a maintenance situation than a long-term concern, because Detroit simply needs him healthy and disruptive up front once the games start counting. Then there's a name that always seems to carry a little extra emotional weight around here, Alim McNeill. Dan Campbell has made no secret of how much he loves this player, and when he's actually been on the field, he's proven exactly why. The frustrating part has just been availability. It's been one setback after another. So seeing him back out there a little earlier than expected is the kind of quiet, feel-good update that doesn't always make headlines but absolutely matters in a locker room that's tired of watching one of its most talented pieces stuck on the sideline. Now here's where things get genuinely interesting at linebacker, and honestly, it's shaping up to be one of the more fascinating position battles heading into the year. Malcolm Rodriguez is working his way back, but it looks like veteran addition Devin White has firmly taken hold of that starting role. And that's completely fine, because Rodriguez's story has always been more about heart than star power. Think of him almost like the linebacker version of a beloved role player, the kind of guy who overachieves in big moments, who has a great personal story, but who was never really miscast as a true top-tier ever-down starter. He played more than expected out of necessity the last couple of seasons. And now, with Devin White in the fold, Rodriguez can settle into the role he's best suited for. A steady depth piece and special teams asset who shows up when the team truly needs him. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, for defense trying to build real depth, that's exactly what you want. And speaking of linebacker depth, keep a very close eye on Jimmy Roleda. This one is a sneaky big deal. Dan Campbell had initially indicated Roleda would be out for a stretch, and follow-up reports reinforced that he'd miss real time. So seeing him already back out there working with trainers, doing on-field work, with a regular season roughly a month away, is a genuinely encouraging sign. Could he realistically be back practicing in a couple of weeks? It's not out of the question. And here's why that matters so much. Before the injury, reports out of camp had Roleda actually looking better than Malcolm Rodriguez. Bigger, faster, more explosive in flashes. That doesn't mean Rodriguez isn't valuable. He's a very solid, reliable piece. But if Roleda can get back to full health and pick up where he left off, Detroit could be looking at Devin White holding things down as the guy for this season, with Roleda and Rodriguez developing behind him as the future of that linebacker room. And on the subject of Devin White, there's a reason to be genuinely excited here. Sometimes the best value additions in football are players coming out of organizations that were an absolute mess. White spent time with the Raiders, A team that, let's be honest, has been chaos for years, and he still led that roster in tackles. He was out there fighting, putting in work, on a team that had checked out of playoff contention by midseason with basically nothing going for it beyond one or two value players. Pulling a player like that out of a losing environment and dropping him into a locker room built on the culture Dan Campbell has created. That's the kind of change of scenery that can genuinely reignite a veteran's career. Give Devin White one strong year as the guy, let Roleda and Rodriguez develop behind him, and suddenly Detroit's linebacker core looks a whole lot more stable heading into the years ahead. Now let's talk about the moment that really got Lions fans buzzing. The one Dan Campbell brought up unprompted, days after the preseason opener, once he'd actually sat down and broken down the film. Rookie cornerback Keith Abney had himself a moment, and Campbell wasn't shy about praising it. If you've followed this team for any length of time, you know cornerback has been an absolute nightmare position to solve through the draft and free agency. It's brutally difficult to find talent there, and Lions fans have watched, painfully, as a couple of younger corners on this roster simply haven't developed the way anyone hoped. So when Detroit landed Abney in the 5th round, the reaction was cautious optimism mixed with a little bit of come on, please, just be good. Some analysts even felt he played like a third-round talent who fell further than he should have. And through one preseason game, the early signs are genuinely promising. Campbell specifically praised his physicality, said he belongs in the moment, that he looks comfortable out there, that the speed of the game doesn't look too big for him. Those are exactly the phrases you want to hear about a rookie corner in a Lions uniform. Keep his name on your radar, because if this development continues, Abney could end up being one of the best value picks of this entire draft class. A couple of other names deserve a shout-out here too. Kicker Jake Bates has been automatic, calmly knocking through kicks from 41 and 52 yards like it was nothing, and he even made a touchdown-saving tackle on a kick return. Which, look, that's preseason hustle you love to see, even if the coaching staff will probably tell him to just let those returners score next time and stay healthy. And up front, Ahmed Hassanein continues to turn heads, alongside Skylar Gilhoward, who Campbell described as one of those rare young players you genuinely only have to tell something once before it clicks. Coming from Texas Tech, where the offense was built for track meet, 4-plus point shootouts, the question with Gilhoward was always whether he could handle the unglamorous, physical dirty work required up front in the NFL, eating double teams, holding the point of attack, doing the thankless stuff that doesn't show up on a stat sheet. Early returns suggest the answer is yes, and that's exactly the kind of trench toughness this Lions defense wants to build around. Put it all together, and this is about as good a stretch of injury news as Lions fans could have asked for at this point in camp. A center locked into the first-team offense. A veteran linebacker addition who might be exactly the culture reset he needed. A promising rookie linebacker working his way back ahead of schedule. And a rookie corner who's already earning praise from a head coach who does not hand out compliments lightly. This team is quietly building depth in exactly the spots that have haunted this roster in years past. That's the update for today, Lions fans. Let us know down in the comments which of these returning players you're most excited to watch. And while you're down there, tell us how you became a Lions fan in the first place. We love reading those stories. This channel, Detroit Scope, is entirely built around bringing you breakdowns like this one, and we are working hard to hit 1,000 subscribers. If this video gave you even a little bit of that Lions optimism, please hit subscribe, drop a like, and share this with a fellow Lions fan who needs the good news too. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one.